Yes, this is the other one. Okay, so I'm good, I'm good. Now I will. So everyone, what I want you to do is open up that file, that After Effects file that you were working on, or if you did not have one, start a new file. And we're going to do some more tutorials, okay? We're going to do, let's see, I've got it written down here. We're going to do 3 today. We're going to do text on an Illustrator path, motion sketch, and dancing text. So you'll want to have Illustrator open, and you'll want to have After Effects open. So that's the next thing we're going to do. Let's see, where's the share meeting? Share thing. It's down at the bottom. Share screen. Boom. And I want to share, let's see, Adobe After Effects first. So you basically have from the last time, and let's see, I'm going to open up Illustrator also, so it will be ready for me. So you should open up Illustrator and have that running in the background where you're doing this, setting up your first thing. So, and your Illustrator, you want to create a new file, and it should be the size that we're using. So maybe I should go ahead, I'll go ahead and I'll share the Illustrator first, because I think that'll be more useful. So let's share Illustrator. So we're going to start a new file, and here I've got it set to the, let's see, film and video, and it's this one, HDV 720. And this one, I don't even really need to give it a name because we're just going to throw it away. But we're going to actually do something and copy and paste it. So, and it went ahead and stopped sharing, darn you. Here we go. Okay, so you want to do the Illustrator 1280 by 720p and have it running in the background, okay? So I've got this empty file here, and I'm going to go back. This is fun bouncing back and forth like this. I'm going to go back to here, stop sharing. And now I'm going to get ready to share After Effects. So I'll share After Effects. I'm going to be doing this back and forth, so it's going to drive you crazy. And it's going to drive me crazy, and I'll probably have all kinds of things going wrong, but this is what we need to do. So we're going to start composition new, or you can go ahead and use the composition little icon down here, create a new composition, or you can go to composition, new composition, and we want to have it 1280 by 720, and we want to have it 5 seconds. I was working on putting together a limerick, so I was going to do 15 seconds for the limerick, but this is 5 seconds. So I'm doing 5 seconds. Make sure you've got all the presets correct. I've had a couple of people handing in files that are the wrong size consistently for the last couple of projects. And keep reiterating that if you open it up and do not tell it what size you want that comp to be, it's going to do whatever it feels like, and it's not going to be what you want to output. So you can fix it before you output it, but don't hand in a video that's the wrong size. It's easy to fix by using scale to make it the right size, because it usually starts out with a much larger size than you need. But it's better if you can start with the size we are using. So now I have a 5 second composition. There's nothing in it, and I just left it called Comp 1, but I'm going to go to Composition, Composition Settings, and I'm going to change the name of this. And I'm going to call it by my last name and my first initial, and then I'm underscore, and I'm going to call it Illustrator Path. So that's what it is. Do you see it when I zoom in? Does that look zoomed in? Somebody press your space bar and say, is that zoomed in? Nobody's answering. I'm going to zoom out. Okay, so I'm changing the name to Illustrator Path. And then you can see it says Illustrator Path at the top there, and there's still nothing in it. I'm going to Command S to make sure that is saved, because you always want to make sure that you have things saved. Now I'm going to go ahead to Illustrator. So first I'm going to stop the sharing. And boom. So I'm stopping sharing. I'm going to say, did anyone have problems with that? Did you get that? Okay, so now we're going to do the actual Illustrator path. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into Illustrator. We're going to draw a path. We're going to select the entire path. We're going to copy it to the clipboard. And then we're going to go into After Effects and paste the path into our comp, because we're going to use the path. Okay, so now we're going to share screen, and we're going to share screen with Illustrator. Okay, so like I said, you do not have to name this anything, because we are not going to save this. We're just going to draw a path in it. So go over to the line segment tool, click on the little triangle at the corner, and choose the spiral tool. So now I have the spiral tool. It does not matter, because it is only going to be a path. It does not matter the width, the height, the color, anything, because you're just going to use the path. I'm going to click.
Sorry to interrupt you quick. Are you in Illustrator right now?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
So now we're going to draw the path, and it's hard to see on my screen because it's so thin, but I'm just making a spiral path. I'm trying to keep it from going off the screen. And now I'm going to get the move tool so I can move it up, because it tends to draw so that it goes down to the bottom. So I've got it in the middle here, and it looks like a conch shell. So this is the path. Now, what are we going to do with the path? We are going to copy it to the clipboard. So while it is still selected, Command C, and now we go back out. I'm going to stop sharing again. So we're going to go back into the After Effects file that we just set up with the comp. So I'm going to share screen. I'm going to go to my After Effects file. So here we are in the After Effects file. I'm going to set it to fit in the screen. So you can see nothing's there, okay? Now before we paste it, we're not going to paste this path yet. What we're going to do is we're going to type words. So I want you to double click on the T. So there's an insertion point, and type Illustrator path. Okay. Don't use the cap lock, because if you use the caps lock, it will not refresh the screen. If you did use the caps lock, make sure that you turn off your caps lock button before you go further, because it confuses things. Okay, so now I've got the words Illustrator path. Doesn't matter where it is. Now let's see what size it is. I want to know what size I've made this. And I've got 90 pixels, and that's exactly what I want. It's Helvetica New. I've got regular though. I want it to be bold, so I'm going to come in and I'm going to highlight the whole set of words. I'm going to change it to bold, because I want it to be bold. Okay, so 90 pixels and bold, and that's good. And I'm going to go ahead and deselect the layer, and I'm going to Command Save. So thus far what we have is On our clipboard, we have a spiral. In our After Effects file, we have words. Now, the spiral is a path. I'm going to select the layer name in the timeline. And I'm going to make sure I have the selection tool selected. Make sure I've got the timeline selected too. So come back down and click on the name of the layer in the timeline to make sure that is selected. And now, this is going to be kind of just real simple, just Command V to paste. And then there's your path. It came back. So this is the path that we just drew in Illustrator. I'm going to go to fly down the little triangle next to the name of the layer, and then I'm going to go to.
What can we do when we don't have the sparrow as an option? Illustrator, because that it doesn't say it's an option for me. I just have the star, the line, the circle, the square. I don't have the sparrow.
I think it's the pen tool. Is it?
Did they move it?
I don't think they have it because I know I don't have it in Illustrator for sure.
Yeah,
Okay,
not even.
well, then what you can do is get the pen tool and just quickly draw something that is similar to this curve.
To a spiral? Okay.
Yeah, just use like 6 or 8 points.
Oh.
And then make sure you select it and copy it to your clipboard. Because this will work with any kind of path. The only reason I used the spiral is because it was really simple to have something that wasn't just a line and people could do it quickly. But if they're going to make it harder on me by changing what type of tools are available, you know, that's them. I didn't know they did that. So, and mine is updated all completely. So maybe it's because I've used this spiral path in the past. Maybe it has assumed that I will continue using it. Sometimes they will have options where you can choose to replace different parts of whatever tools you have. Maybe it allows you to select the Illustrator path or the Illustrator spiral path by going under one of the presets or the preferences. I don't know. I'll have to look into that. Hadn't come up against that before, sorry. That's very inconvenient. But it just draws something that has one line, but that changes in shape. And it's basically the idea is this spiral has a line that has layers to it, even though it's only one line. So you could, if you put a line straight through it, it would cross it 6 times. And that's the idea is, you know, that it has curves in it so that it would cross itself 6 times if you put a line through it. So that's the only reason I chose the spiral, to make it more interesting. Sorry about that.
I drew my best spiral. Not a very good drawer without tracing. But
Well, you know, actually, it'll probably make it more interesting because of what we're going to do with it. So once you have it copied into your clipboard and you go back into your After Effects file with your text and just paste it on the text layer, it comes up, it saves it as a mask. It's called mask 1, see? But we want path options under text. So you go to text and you click on the caret and then it says path options. And under path options, it says path none. But if you click on this caret here, you can see that mask 1 is a path. Now, does anyone want to guess what's going to happen next?
I'm gonna rotate like that.
Well, it's real fun. I'm going to choose mask 1. And it's on the path now.
I just try to copy and paste the sparrow there, but it's not pasting. Should I have placed it in a different way? I'm just trying to keep up with the tutorial.
Yeah, all
at
you
the same
need
time.
to do is have the name of the layer selected and then just paste it. It will paste it only as a path then. If you don't have the layer selected, it will try to paste it as another layer. But
it's like not even pasting in a way.
well, if you just go back and draw a circle and then come back and do it, it should do it with the circle too. So I'll go ahead and do it with the circle after we finish doing it with this. Oh, don't you love it when it just starts changing the size of something because you moved your mouse? I hate that. Okay. So
Yeah, mine is kind of a little weird right now. When I paste it, either you don't paste it, or if I select, it covers the text.
okay, well, just listen as I go along, and then I'll do it with a circle too. Okay, and I'll show you how to do it with a circle. So, or we can even just do it with a circle in here. So that's what I'll do. I'll just do it with a circle in here, and that way you don't have to deal with Illustrator at this point. But you can get an understanding of how it kind of works, and then if you can figure out how to get Illustrator to make a path and save it of any kind, then you would be able to make your text follow a path.
So did you copy and paste it, or you saved it as a layer, or how did you?
I just copied it to my clipboard by selecting it and then pressing Command C.
Yeah, that's not working on mine for some reason.
Well, like I say, I'll do it again with different shapes. First, I'll do this. So now what I did was I went over to the paragraph tab and I selected align left, okay? And then it lines up with the first point at the beginning of the first letter, okay? And now I'm going to keyframe. Under path options and under path, you see there's a bunch of choices. Reverse path, perpendicular to path, force alignment, first margin, last alignment, or last margin. We are going to keyframe first margin, okay? Go to the end of the comp. So at 429, and now you want to change the number under first margin. So here I'm going to use the scrub, you know, where you actually go ahead and just put your little finger over the number, and if you move it, it will just make the number larger and larger. So I'm scrubbing until my letters, let's see, scrubbing until my letters go to the end of the path. Whoa, and if you go past, it flies off, so watch out. And there you go. Okay, so there's the last keyframe. Now, since that is a path, it will not appear once you start rendering it. So if I go back to frame 1 and press my space bar, you can see that it very nicely follows the path and spins around. And once it goes through it once, it'll speed up and get up to speed. Okay, now, since some people have problems getting that Illustrator path to actually work, I'm going to turn off the eyeball and I'm going to add a new layer. So I add a new layer of text. I'll lock this one and I'll type something else. So let's try circular path. So you only need to have one of these done. You do not need to do all of the stuff I'm doing, but I'm just trying to make sure that everybody has a chance to see what they can do. Now I've got circular path selected down in the timeline. So that text layer is selected.
I think that in order to get the spiral, you have to change it to the classic. I think hold on, the Essentials Classic.
Yes.
I think that you'll be able to find the line tool and then go ahead and get that spiral shape that way.
So that's a good thing to know. So they, like I say, that means that they changed it, and but just just because I started it, let's finish this. I'm just going to do this really quickly. Instead
it's on Essential Classic.
Right, but instead of going back to Illustrator, let's see what happens if you use the circle tool or the ellipse tool here in After Effects. So I'm going to stay circular path selected, and I'm going to just draw a circle. So first, it is a mask when it starts out. I'm going to draw it. Let's say I want it to start in the middle. If you press Command, it'll draw from the center. And I'm pressing Shift and Command to get a circle that starts in the center. And then let go of the control keys before you let go of your mouse button. So here's a circular path, and it's kind of big, so it's going to make the text go off of the page, which I didn't really want. So I go under mask here. I'm going to make it smaller by, oh, it's doing that. Never mind, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to have to change the size of that mask somehow, some way. I'm not going to do it. Okay, so we'll just delete that path and start a different one. So let's go to mask 1 and just delete it. And I'm going to draw another one because I didn't like the fact that it was so big. So I'm going to draw another one. I'm going to hold down Command and Shift. I'm going to draw a nice, just drawing a square. That's not what I want. I want this, and I want to start drawing on this layer. And then I'll hold Command and Shift, and I'll just draw until it's as big as I want it to be, and I'm going to make it fairly small. So it always does it as a mask, okay? But if you use it as a path, it will go like that. Oh, it does it on the inside. That's good. So it's going to do it on the inside, and you can have it reversed. So it goes on the outside. You can have it perpendicular to the path or not perpendicular to the path. And then we're going to go for the first margin. We'll start with the first margin down here. I'm going to keyframe that, go to the end, and then I'm going to make it go all the way around. So that's another thing you can do with it. So that is text on a path. There's a whole bunch of different ways that you can have text on a path. But the most important thing is you want to have a path. Any kind of path will work. So if you wanted to have your text following a path of something that is happening in your animation, or if you want to have it drawing a shape, you can do that. So this is another way that you can work with something and make it interesting with text in After Effects. So if we, so I'm going to go ahead and go back to Illustrator. So if you couldn't get it to show, let's see what I've got set for the, yeah, I've got it in Essentials Classic, that's why. So if it wasn't showing, it shows in Essentials Classic. If you go back to Essentials, let's see. Yeah, under Essentials, it doesn't have the curving spiral anymore.
Sorry, how did you change it to Classic again? Because that's exactly what I have.
Yeah, so what I did was I went up to, in the upper right-hand corner, you can select the workspace you want to use, and there's Essentials Classic. Or under Window, you can go down to Workspace, and here you have all of the different workspaces available. You can also reset to get back to where there's nothing that isn't supposed to be there, basically. If you change what windows you're using while you're signed into any of the workspaces, it will hold on to that. And so I had been using some other stuff and playing around with colors and things. So I had some other windows open. So this is Essentials Classic, and it does have the spiral. It also has a rectangular grid tool, which I really like working with. So You know, they do change things when they do something, and if you're used to using it some way that they've changed, it's kind of disorienting. But if you're in Essentials, it will not have the same things available here. Okay, now once again, we are not saving this. This is not something I'm saving because I don't need this. I don't need to have the spiral available to me ever again. So I'm going to say, okay, let's just quit Illustrator, and I'm not going to save. Okay. Okay, so there you go. There you go. Did everybody get something to work there? Let's say yes if you got it to work. Okay, well, at least several people did. Who had problems with it? Anybody? Did somebody have trouble with that?
Okay, so I got to do the spiral form, and then I placed it, and that worked now. And the only thing is that I kind of missed how you made it travel, like around the shape.
Okay.
I already positioned the first margin, but the last one I'm kind of struggling because I'm changing the numbers, but the position is not changing.
Okay, so select the layer name and make sure that you have it set to align left in the paragraph, okay? Then set your keyframe on the first frame. Go to the last frame. And when you're on the last frame, you want to change the number that isn't in first margin. And if it's hard to make it move, try typing in a number like 1000. See what it does.
Nothing really. Just I don't see the paragraph over here.
Okay, so if you, I'm going to go back to After Effects. Okay, so in After Effects, and let's go ahead and I'm going to type another layer. I'll turn this one off. And this one, yeah. Okay. So I'm going to type testing. Okay. So now I've got this layer, and I'm just going to use one of the shapes here to make this go faster. So I'll just draw a polygon, whatever shows up. Actually, I don't like that. Command Z, I'm going to hold down Command and draw. Okay, there we go. So now I've got this polygon, okay? And I'm going to go down to the testing and click on this arrow next to text. So right here, click on that, and then you can see path options, and you go to the path, and the path is mask 1. So I'm going to go to mask 1, and when I go to mask 1, then it should jump onto the actual path. And now we can decide how we want this to work. Do I want it perpendicular to the path? Do I want to have it inside or outside? I'm going to do reverse path on, so it goes outside. And now if I go to the first margin and I keyframe it, I should be able to go to the last frame and then change this number. So if you do it by hand, you can just type in a number, and that 800 takes it to there. So I'm going to go to 1600, and maybe a little less than 16, maybe 1500.
Yeah, I got to that point. It's just when I tap the number, it will move. The text stay in the same spot.
So did you keyframe it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so the first margin on frame 1 should be 0, 0.
Yeah.
And then go to the last frame. In the last frame, the first margin number should be something over 1,000.
Yeah, but that's when I tap this number that nothing happens. It's like it will move.
Are you sure that you have the path on the layer with the text?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me see. Can I share your screen?
Yeah, hold on, I'm gonna do it. Oh, it says that it's disabled for me to share.
Okay, let's see if I can go to share screen and let's see. Okay, now can you share?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got it on your last margin. Oh, you changed your last margin number.
Yeah, I've been trying to type any number to see if it will.
No, you don't want to do, so stop, I'm going to click on things. So move your cursor away. Move it
Okay.
way over here. I'm going to go back to frame 1 and we want to turn this off. It won't let me do it. It won't let me take yours. Let's see, view options. Request remote control. Okay, I have to request remote control. Okay, so let's see if I can do this now. No, it's not letting me. What I want you to do is come down here and click on your stopwatch so it clears this last margin. I don't want you to have that. This should not be keyframed. Change that number to 0. Okay, and it's red, so I think you did something odd to it.
Yeah, I was just about to ask why that number was red.
Yeah, because no matter,
Oh.
I was thinking I put like a
Right,
higher number.
wait. Can you right click on the red number down here in last margin? Right click on it, just on the number, just right click. And go to edit properties. Cancel. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, it's going back to white. Cancel. Okay, it's okay now. I think you were changing it to do something. Well, now it's gone red again. Well, let's change first margin instead. What you're supposed to do is change the first margin. You don't change the last margin. So pull your cursor over to here, your CTI, pull it over to the end, just drag it down, and then change the number in first margin to about 1200. Just type in 1200. Enter. Okay, now, see, now it should move. So go back to 0 to drag your cursor back, your CTI back, and now press your space bar. Don't touch last margin, don't.
Do not.
That's good. Now, see there's a little caret next to last margin? Click on that caret.
On what? I'm sorry?
Next to the last margin here, see this?
The little arrow that's beside the last margin.
Yeah, now click on that. You've got an expression. This is what you did. You somehow added an expression. So stop the play, press the space bar. That's why it's red. I thought that's what it was.
I have no idea.
Don't want to have an expression. So click on the words expression, just click on it right now so it's selected.
No, I can even select it, I think.
And let's see, you want to clear that somehow. So, well, see this line of text? Select that line of text. Oh, hey, yeah. Click on that enable expression to disable the expression. There. Okay, you're good. Now select that line of text and hit delete. Well, you're fine. Okay, yeah. you don't want to have an expression. So you must have pressed Option while you were clicking on the timepiece. That's how you add expressions. You hold down Option and click on the timepiece. You don't want to do that right now because you really don't know what expressions do.
Yeah.
So that was a mistake. But now it should work. Everything should work. So save it. Everybody save it. And I'm going to stop this sharing because we're done. So let's see.